What's up, lore masters? Today we'll be taking a look at a really well-known scene, specifically when there was torture in TNG's Chain of Command Part 2. Fair warning, due to CBS and their ludicrous need to keep these type of clips only for the main Star Trek channel on YouTube, my cuts may be limited to only 7 to 10 seconds apiece. I am going to try to push that a bit, and we may even go up to 30 seconds, but it all depends on what they allow after I upload. To catch those up who haven't seen it, in TNG's Chain of Command Part 1 and Part 2, Starfleet believes that the Cardassians are preparing weapons of mass devastation and may be looking to go to war with Starfleet and the Federation. So, Picard, Beverly, and Worf are dispatched as Black Ops to handle the situation, because sending the captain of the flagship, its medical officer, and security officer makes a lot more sense than sending specifically trained personnel who can handle the situation. As you can tell, it was a really good idea. Picard is captured, and now we're off to the races. Let's just get into it. This is a really great way to start this arc with the captain. It shows us Picard is out of his element and he's in trouble. This is dangerous. The blindfold gives us a sense of how uncomfortable this entire affair is. The lighting is dramatic, and most of it is largely dimmed to give a much softer and cooler blue reflection off of everything than the harsh white we're used to. It makes the room feel foreboding and adds shadow to everything. This makes his surroundings feel much larger and emptier than it actually is. It makes it scarier. Additionally, as Picard and the guards approach, the camera moves forward to meet them halfway. This adds an element of foreboding. Not only is Picard being forced into a dangerous place, but it is coming to him as well. The choice to make the camera actually move versus zooming in on him is what really makes it work. A great job.
Captain Picard.
While the shot is generally brief, the slow, methodical movement subtly pushes the power and dominance that is in the air. As the Cardassian turns around and slowly walks towards Picard, who still can't see him and towers over him, we get an overall feeling of dread. This is not a good position for our hero. Additionally, the Cardassian is taking his time. He's in no rush. It's very relaxed, which just adds an air of menace to it.
I demand to see a neutral representative as required by the Federation Cardassian Peace Treaty.
Not a ton to add here. There is a hard light behind Picard giving him a halo effect, which shows that he's a person of interest. It's focused on him. The reverse shot is also angled down on the captain as he makes his demands. This shows that he's really in no shape to be asking for anything.
We have already sent a message to Tovan 3. The nearest neutral planet.
I do like the effect they use to simulate Picard's eyes adjusting to the light. It's at least a nice attempt, though the last ship did it a lot better. Also, I want to say that there is a gaffe here, and it does impact negatively the overall feel. Once the blindfold is taken off and Picard is able to look at the Cardassian in the eyes, the camera switches to what is supposed to be Picard's point of view. However, it's actually at eye level with the Cardassian. He's not looking up at him. In most shots going forward, Picard will always be looking up at the Cardassian or the Cardassian looking down at him. Because the camera is at an even keel here, we lose some of the momentum of how ominous everything is, and it's a bit jarring. You probably wouldn't outright notice it, but it would impact your attitude. Now, this isn't major, but it can show how even a small little mess up like this impacts a scene. Don't get me wrong, it's still great, and there is a lot of fear here. It would have just been better had they done it the correct way.
They assure us they will dispatch someone immediately. Will you allow me to remove your restraints?
I don't think I can underscore how powerful the Cardassian actor is. There is nothing overtly hostile that this person has done. In fact, he has assured Picard they are getting him a neutral arbiter and took off the bindings. However, you can tell that this person is dangerous and that he has ill intent. He conveys this through his soft-spoken tone, his body language, and the general atmosphere. Also, and I know I keep reiterating this, but the fact that the Cardassian is taller and towering over the human is something that we're continually noticing.
I understand that you are a student of archaeology. Did you know that Cardassia boasts some of the most ancient and splendid ruins in the entire galaxy?
I know that the burial vaults, the first Hibishian civilization, are said to be magnificent.
Apparently, when they were first unearthed 200 years ago, they were. The burial vaults contained unimaginably beautiful artifacts made of Jevonite. A rare, breathtaking stone. But most of those objects are gone.
What happened to them?
There's not a lot that we can gain from the camera language here, like at all. The two are moving away from where they originally started and sitting down at the table. We do get a depth of field shot with Picard further away from the Cardassian. The actors are doing much more though. Right now, we see the Cardassian baiting Picard. He's attempting to cause the man to empathize with him, talking about Picard's love of archaeology and then the great sites on Cardassia. This will become important later in the scene, but for the most part, he's just trying to set up Picard and make it seem like they might actually be friends.
What happened to them?
What happens to impoverished society? The tombs were plundered. Priceless treasures stolen. A few were preserved in museums, but even those were eventually sold in order to pay for our war efforts.
Again, we see the attempt to bring Picard in to make him feel like he's a friend, which will be turned around in a moment, but I do want to point out something that is almost surely a happy coincidence and not done on purpose. When we analyze the lighting for the Cardassian, we see that he is draped in yellow on one side and blue on the other. For Picard, he has one side that's blue and the other is white. This creates a neat symbolism that they are both currently in a similar situation but from different points of view and in different stations of power. I feel like there's no way this was done on purpose, but I love how it adds to the story.
But even those were eventually sold in order to pay for our war efforts.
That war cost you hundreds of thousands of lives. It depleted your food supplies, left your population weakened and miserable, and yet you risk another war.
Let's not waste time arguing about issues we cannot resolve.
Magnificently done. In the previous segment, we observed that both Picard and the Cardassian are at a medium shot and are further apart. This was during the time that the Cardassian was attempting to create a rapport with Picard. However, when Picard counters him and doesn't fall for the trick, and in fact makes a great point that another war would not be in the Cardassian's interests, the camera moves from a medium shot to a medium close-up on the Cardassian. Yet, for Picard, it stays at a medium shot. This shows that it's becoming personal for the Cardassian. While he was attempting to get to Picard, Picard actually got to him. But it's not just the camera language. Watch how the character reacts. The Cardassian's head is up at first, an air of superiority, and then he slowly lowers it and begins to glower a bit. And it ends with him saying, "Let us not waste time about issues we cannot resolve." Picard has clearly won this round.
Would you care to tour the Hibishian burial vaults?
What I would like is to be returned to my ship.
My dear Captain, you are a criminal. You've been apprehended invading one of our secret facilities. The least that will happen is for you to stand trial and be punished. But I'm offering you the opportunity for that experience to be civilized.
With Picard winning the last debate, the Cardassian returns back to subtly using his power. This includes his voice, the small grins, and the offer for Picard to enjoy his time on Cardassia. The way he says, quote-unquote, "you are a criminal," is absolutely chilling. And even with him offering a way out of pain, the Cardassian now is a bit more menacing with his use of the term civilized. We see this in the camera language as well. It was more relaxed before, but again, it goes from a mid-close-up to an actual close-up. The torturer is being completely honest about what's going to happen to the captain, and Picard is trying to reason with the man. By staying close, by focusing specifically on the emotions of the individuals, the camera is staying personal.
What is the price of that opportunity?
Cooperation. We need to know the Federation's defense strategy for Minos Corv.
You've injected me with drugs. Surely you must realize that I've already answered truthfully every question you've put to me.
Captain, we have gone to great lengths to lure you here, because we know that in the event of an invasion, the Enterprise will be the command ship for the sector encompassing Minos Corv.
And it seems you have more knowledge of the situation than I.
A bit of a small gaffe here, and it's not really that big of a deal, but we never really see the Cardassian put away the restraints and reacquire his handheld device of doom. But I doubt anyone would really notice that unless they're analyzing it to the degree I am. Getting back to it, we do see the close-up staying personal, and then the man with all the power stands up and physically threatens Picard. Picard has been completely honest. He's admitted everything, and he's even pointed out that even if he wanted to lie, he couldn't. He had been drugged, but that doesn't change anything. The captain hasn't given the information that's wanted, and now Picard must suffer.
Wasted energy, Captain. You might come to wish you hadn't expended it in such a futile effort.
Torture is expressly forbidden under the terms of the Saldonis IV Convention governing the treatment of prisoners of war.
Everything about this shot is great. The rush and the building of music, the two guards that walk in lockstep, the way the camera portrays them as cold military officers. They don't talk, they don't say anything or even react. It's just a job. The resistance of Picard and how he talks about what they are doing is illegal. And then lowering of the device. The soft blue light still only illuminating very little in comparison to what we usually see. In this entire scene, they may not be using the camera language as extensively as we're used to or as they have in the past, but the atmosphere is definitely here.
Do you have any physical ailments I should know about? Beautiful, isn't it? The stone is Gemini. And now you know why it is so highly prized.
This Cardassian, also known as Gul Madred, is being played by the great David Warner. You'll know him from The Undiscovered Country, the movie, and the game Star Trek Klingon Academy, where he played Gorkon. He also had roles in so many different pieces of art, but this includes Batman the Animated Series, Tron, and much more. It cannot be understated how critical this entire thing relies, not on Sir Patrick Stewart, but David Warner. He is carrying the entire scene. Stewart is doing an awesome job, don't get me wrong, but the dialogue relies on David nailing it, and he does. The way the knife is handled, the methodical dialogue, it's all cold, calculated, nothing but business. Madred doesn't ultimately care about Picard, and based on his actions and how he acts and how everything is kept close to the vest, it's insanely difficult to see what he's going to do.
From this point on, you will enjoy no privilege of rank, no privileges of person. From now on, I will refer to you only as human. You have no other identity.
And yet another powerful shot to leave on. Picard is stripped of everything. He is othered. He doesn't have a name, just a species. And he is left in an empty, cold room. Naked and vulnerable. A very, very compelling scene. Stay tuned as we continue on with further torture. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.